Hey everybody, Amanda Ziba here, ready to walk you through the October pre-planned calendar. And I know your time is short, so we are just going to dive in right away because I have a lot of good things to tell you. This is linked on the Word Nerd Collaborative website page. If you just click on pre-planned calendars and then also October, you will get the downloadable PDF of this. And as always, all of the links for videos, resources, printables, slides, rubrics, everything is in here for you. I start with a long-ish letter to you. I had a mini breakdown on Friday, and it is a lot of life is a lot, right? Like we teach and then we also have lives outside of school. And when your best laid plans all fall apart and everything feels overwhelming, like what do you do about that? This is what I did, and hopefully knowing that you are not the only one to feel like you're treading water and falling apart at the seams when life is too much, knowing that you're not alone in that will make you feel better. And also maybe hearing what I did to get myself out of that mood will be helpful for you. Um, Next is the table of contents. Everything is now linked directly to the pages in this document. So when you click on those underlined words, it will take you specifically to that aspect of the calendar. And at the bottom, we have all of our links for opportunities to connect. The November monthly planning session will be on October 20th. The October lunch bunch is going to be November 1st. The last Friday is actually November 1st. And I wanted to be able to talk about the books we'd read, uh, close-ish to October. So we're cheating a little bit there, but hopefully you'll be okay with that. We have our calendar that you can print out. And then our first chapter Fridays. We are going to be reading all spooky books this month in connection to Halloween. They are The Thief of Always, Doll Bones, The Enemy, and The Graveyard Book. I love all of these books. They are spooky and they're all very different from one another. So I think they're going to appeal to a wide variety of readers. The only slight trouble that I have with them is that their authors are really freaking famous. So famous that they don't answer their own emails or even accept messages on their Instagram accounts. So I have yet to solidify people to join our lunch bunch, but I'm going to keep trying. I still have almost a month to get it done. And I have a backup plan. If I can't get any of these spooky authors, I have a plan B. So rest assured, we will have great people to talk with. Let me stop sharing here and tell you a little bit about each of these books in case you are unfamiliar with them. There's a mix of familiar ones and unfamiliar. So hopefully, even if you are super well read, you're going to get to learn about some new books here. The first one was actually gifted to me by a student's father who said, "You have to read this book." And I was like, okay, I will. It is called The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. And it is about this boy named Harvey who is bored. He is bored with life. Nothing brings him joy. Everything is a chore. And he's bored. This book has one of my very favorite first lines ever. So I'm going to share it with you. And it says, "The great gray beast of February had eaten Harvey Swick alive. Here he was, buried in the belly of that smothering month, wondering if he would ever find his way out through the cold coils that lay between here and Easter. And if that's not how a teacher feels in February, I don't know anything else that is more true." But Harvey is bored, and it is February, and this creature hops up on his windowsill. One of the other great things about this book is that they have all these great illustrations, these pen and ink illustrations to it. So this creature hops up on his windowsill and says, "Harvey, I see that you're bored. You should come with me. I know an amazing place. It's called the Holiday House, and you will have so much fun there. But you have to come. You have to come right now. You can't tell anyone that you're going. You just have to come with me." And wouldn't that be so much better than being bored? And Harvey agrees that it would be. And so he goes with him. And the little strange creature is totally right because it's a blast at the Holiday House. And Harvey has so much fun with all of the other kids there, playing games, eating great food. It is the best. But the longer that Harvey spends there, the more he realizes things aren't quite right. And in fact, what he realizes is that he can't leave. And he also realizes that time passes at the holiday house differently than it does in the real world. Um, and that many, many years have passed, even though it feels like he's only been there a couple of weeks, years, maybe even decades have passed since he's arrived at the holiday house. And now he really wants to leave, but he can't. And so a big chunk of the book is him trying to figure out how to outsmart the holiday house. This is a book about a haunted house, um, in a way that you have never read a book about a haunted house before, and it is so good. Um, it is not gory, it is suspenseful, but it does not cross the line of like of horror, if that makes sense. The next book is Doll Bones by Holly Black. And this is a book about a group of friends. It's two boys and one girl, and they love to do imaginative play. They have these dolls, these action figures, and they create stories about them. It's kind of like a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, like role play, where they become these characters and they say their voices and they make up adventures for them to go on, and they love it and they're having so much fun, except now they're in middle school and the main character, his name is Zach. Zach's dad does not want him to play with dolls anymore. And he doesn't want him to play with girls either. He thinks that he's outgrown this, and Zach won't listen to him. And so he throws the dolls away. He throws Zach's action figure away, and Zach is devastated. Like this action figure, like it was more than just a toy, right? It was his creation. And so the three friends are going to try to decide how to continue their story without the action figures, and they see this doll sitting in one of the friends' houses in this glass case, and the doll has already kind of been a part of their story, but more like in the background. And they decide to make her the central figure of the story, and they decide that she's haunted and she needs to be laid to rest, and so they go on this journey, like they legitimately get on a bus and they go to put this doll to rest so that she's not haunted anymore. And the more they go on the journey, the more the story becomes not a story, the more it becomes real. And here's the spoiler. I'm sorry, but we're not showing this to kids. But the doll is actually a bone china doll, and it was made out of the bones of a girl who died, and the doll is haunted. That's what they believe. That's what the author leads you to believe as well. And so then they eventually do put the doll to rest. And there's also like, a little bit of a love triangle with the two girls and the boy. And it is a great spooky story, again, without being gory and like icky. So great book. Doll Bones, Holly Black, highly recommend. The next book, I found actually at Walmart, which is kind of a strange place to find books, but it's called The Enemy by Charlie Higson. And despite the fact of picking all spooky books for this month, I hate to be scared, you guys. I don't like roller coasters. I don't watch scary movies. I don't read scary books, especially not horror ones. But this book, the premise of it intrigued me so much that I threw my usual rules to the wind and I read it. This book is about kids who are living in London in the future. A plague has come through and has killed everybody over the age of 16 or turned them into a zombie. So plague comes in. If you're 16 or older, you either die or turn into a zombie, which leaves everybody under age 16 alive, unaffected, and trying to survive because the town is overrun with the walking dead who want to eat them. There's a group of kids who are hiding out in a grocery store for two reasons. One, there's food there. Two, it's got those chain things that come down, like the metal doors that you can kind of see through. It's like the mall. I mean, when we had malls and they would roll those things down. Anyways, they feel very protected and safe there. And they also have food, except that food is running out. So they hear kind of through the rumor mill that there are kids who are living in Buckingham Palace and they are A, safe, and B, they have food because there's gardens there and they can provide for themselves. So they decide that they are going to trek across the city. Well, they have to decide if they want to or not, but some of them do decide that they are going to trek across the city for this future promised land of safety with other kids in a safe place with food, but they have to get across the dangerous city. Um, this book is icky. There is cannibalism. There is scary zombie stuff. There are some weapons. Um, I told you I don't like scary things, and that's because I'm a vivid dreamer. And when I read this book, I had a dream that I opened the top rack of my dishwasher and there was a head in there. Um, I didn't read more of this series. There's 7 books in this series. It is supremely well written. It is fantastic, but I don't like those kinds of dreams with dishwashers full of heads. So I didn't continue on this series. But if you have readers who like that kind of thing and they have the stomach for it, this series is fantastic. It's by Charlie Higson. And then the last one is the Newbery Award-winning book, The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, about a boy whose family is killed, and he runs off to a cemetery to try to escape the killer. And the ghosts take pity on the boy, and they protect him from this killer who also wants to kill him too. So he's growing up in the graveyard with the ghosts as his guardians. A very interesting story, very interesting set of a construct of ideas. There are also unique illustrations along in this story. And I know that Neil Gaiman writes for both kids and adults, but he does so as only Neil can. And this is another really great story. So those are the First Chapter Friday books this month. Let's go on to the brain breaks. So there are 5 for this month because there are 5 weeks in October. We have orange and black as the color trivia videos because those are Halloween colors, and so I included those ones. We also have a World Series trivia video that will be happening. The World Series will be happening later in October, so I thought we could lean into that one for all of our sports fans. And then we have 2 Halloween trivia videos. This 5th one over here is all facts about candy and movies and Halloween costumes and things of the secular holiday nature. And then the Halloween idiom one looks at what is an idiom and then what do these idiom phrases mean. It also explains a little bit at the very beginning that an idiom is a phrase that is understood by native fluent language speakers. But if you look at each of the individual words on its own, those meanings do not add up to the whole of the meaning. I'm going to slide down so you can see what I am talking about for that. So, for example, the phrases over my dead body, a scaredy cat, the witching owl, a night owl, a skeleton in your closet. What do these phrases mean? We don't actually have bones in the closet. It means that we have an embarrassing secret. So there are 20 of those questions, and students can play along and answer. I think it'd be really fun for a holiday party or even just a regular brain break that week of Halloween. I've got your leaderboard here for you to print off. It's not all that different than any of the other ones. I just had it a fun, Halloween-ish graphic and changed the colors to make it stand out a little bit. Next, we have the writing prompts. We still have one for every day of the month and a free write Friday for every Friday. People had requested specifically prompts related to the story element of theme and also a couple more point of view prompts. So you will find those all in there along with some just personal reflection types of prompts as well. Like if you were given 3 wishes, what would you wish for? And you could have any 2 famous people for parents. Who do you choose? So a wide variety of ideas and things for students to talk about. One second, please. Okay, we have 2 lessons for you this month. They're both multi-day lessons that you can stretch over several days and even to a couple weeks if you'd like. The first one is a theme lesson. And theme as a whole is kind of an abstract concept, especially for kids to understand. And so the goal of this lesson is to help them understand what a theme is, what the major 11 themes found in literature and movies are, and then how to identify what those themes are. And we do this through some slides, some literary and film examples, an exploration activity as a group, and then also an individual writing assessment. So let's look at the slides. And these slides, I should point out, have some note-taking sheets that go with them. So you can print these out and have students fill them in as you are sharing these slides. A, so they can take that information with them, and B, the more involved and interactive they are in that information process, the better it will be for everybody. So the first few slides just go through some definitions of what theme is. And then the next set of slides gives us the theme and then the theme's definition. I also tried to include an image to help those visual learners see what that theme might look like. So we go through all 11 definitions. And then on the second set of slides, we again have that definition slide, but then I give you some film and literature examples of that. And for each of the literature examples, I give you the book blurb and then also a link to the chapter 1 read aloud of that. Many of them are first chapters that I have done for you. And if I hadn't done one for a book like this one where the red fern grows, I found one for you and linked it there. Then I give you a film example, and these are all shorts, many of them made by Pixar, some not. And so you can witness an entire story beginning, middle, and end in 2 to 6 minutes. And it's going to be much easier for students to pick out a theme when they can see the whole of a story in that short amount of time. So all of the slides have that definition, the examples, the first chapter Friday is listed, and then that film linked right in there. If you don't want to use the slides or you want to do something different with this information, I have all of them linked for you on this page of the planning calendar. The next thing that I would do after I've introduced all of that to the students is this exploration activity. So slides 93 through 103 lists the theme at the top and gives the definition, and then has space for examples. You as the teacher could print these out and write in those examples that we discussed in the slides, the literature and the film examples, but then I want you to ask students to list more examples, and I would encourage you to allow them to list both books and movies and TV shows. We do not want to discredit anybody's lived life experiences, and if they're not a reader, we don't want them to check out from this activity. It's more important that they learn the concept of theme than it is that they have read a book in the past. And hopefully by the end of the activity, they'll hear about some books and they will be excited and inspired to read them. So listing out examples, I would do this as a gallery walk or a paper pass. I would put people in small groups and I would say, all right, you have 2 minutes, list as many books, movies, TV shows as you can think of that have the theme of the circle of life, or that have the theme of free will, or that have the theme of identity. They would list them, timer would go off, and then we'd paper pass, and we'd send them all the way around the room till everybody had the opportunity to add their books and movies. Maybe towards the end, I would cut the time in half because they might not have as many to recommend because they'd been recommended by groups before. Then once we had all of those, I would allow students to debate from the examples that we listed of free will, which one do you think is the best example and why? Tell us why you think that one exemplifies it better than this other one. Students can debate, have a healthy conversation about it. Again, they're going to be much more interested and willing to share their thoughts because it was their idea to begin with. They didn't have to read a short story and then come up with something they think you might want to hear. It's their favorite TV show. It's their favorite movie. They're going to be able to more vividly and descriptively, passionately, enthusiastically describe that connection to a theme than if we supply all of the ideas. Then I would do this if, let's say you teach multiple classes. I would say, all right, these were third hours choices for the best exemplar models of these themes. These were fifth hours choices. These were sixth hour choices. You know, what do you think, fifth hour? Is 6 hours choice really better? Why or why not? And then, you can continue the debate. Then I would do a vote, the whole grade, to pick the best movie that, really exemplifies the theme. And then at the end of the unit, show that movie as a reward for getting through all of the work, and all of the work being this last piece, this individual writing piece where students will choose a theme, then they will choose a book or a movie that exemplifies that theme, and then explain how their chosen story showcases the identified theme, remembering to use specific examples as evidence to support your answer. I would have all of these due on a particular day, and then that is the day we would watch the movie. So I would get the opportunity to begin grading the papers while students are watching the movie. They are having fun. I'm not having to take papers home. Everybody wins. So that is the first one. That is the theme lesson. There's also rubrics included for you for grading that project. Okay. The ABC Research Project is a multi-day lesson that has students practice their research skills and also their citation skills. And I'm willing to bet that when you were to say research project and citation skills in class, everybody's going to roll their eyes and nobody's going to be excited. But this project is going to change all of that, because we let students lean into a topic of their choice. Give me 1 second here. Guys, I freaked out for a second. I didn't know that I'd hit record, and I was really nervous that I didn't, but I did. So we're all good and we can continue. Whew. Oh, I was so scared there for a minute. Okay, so we are going to help students be excited about researching by allowing them to choose a topic that they are supremely interested in. It says here, how are we going to do this? First, we'll do a few exploratory activities. So students will identify some areas of interest and then whittle it down to one. Students will research their chosen topic using the library, the internet, and strategies you share in class. I did not go into great depth with how to do the research, because I'm guessing that you already have a lot of those practices in place. A lot of school districts are very specific about how they want students to use the internet, how they want students to use libraries and databases and books, and what is acceptable and what is not. And so rather than try to appease everyone, I'm going to let you do that part. This resource is more about how to then utilize that research. Because throughout the research project, students are going to record their facts, and then they're going to organize their facts alphabetically, listing one fact per alphabet letter. That's where the ABC aspect comes in. And then eventually at the end, they are going to share out their project, maybe with small groups, maybe for a whole class, or maybe even something like at an open house event for parents in the community. I have everything that you need for this project all ready to go. I have a Google slideshow that's going to introduce the assignment, walking you and students through the steps. It looks like this. So how to introduce it, what those initial activities look like, how you can start to record your facts and whittle it down to a specific topic. All of the steps are here. All of these worksheets, I also have a Google Doc of that linked for you. And then I also have a slideshow example that can also double as templates for the students' final project. And that looks like this. So I chose to do mine on gymnastics. I was a gymnast growing up. I know lots of things about it. And I have 3 sample slides here. Each showcasing the information in a slightly different way. This first letter A, I just have the fact in an image. On the second slide, I have the fact, the image, and a photo credit. On the third slide, I have the fact, the image, and then credit citation for both the information and a photo credit. So depending on how in depth you want your students to go with citation, there are a couple samples here. For any of these resources, all you need to do is do file, make a copy, and then you can adjust them to your own student expectations. And maybe you want to put information for your own personal topic of interest in here so students can learn something new about you as well. So all of these are here, linked in here, ready for you to go. If you're not quite sure, if you want to give students more direction rather than like just pick anything you want, some potential topics could be a country or a state, animals, sports, famous peoples and celebrities, both modern and historical. Like maybe you give everybody a president. Styles of music, musical instruments, famous places like Mount Rushmore or the Eiffel Tower, or a movie or book franchise like Harry Potter or Star Wars. Now, somebody might say, Amanda, Star Wars is not a very academic topic. And I could perhaps get on board with that idea, but this is what I want to tell you. If a student loves Star Wars and they need to do a research project, they're going to need to figure out how to use credible, reliable, relevant, authority, credible sources, like IMBD or biography.com or the George Lucas Foundation. Okay, they are going to have to figure out how to get the information that they need from places that are trusted. And they're going to be excited to do that because they are obsessed with George Lucas. They are obsessed with the movie. They are obsessed with the characters and with Darth Vader and the Death Star and all the things. And they're going to have to do research. And they are going to love that research a whole lot more than if you said, I need you to go find 26 facts about Calvin Coolidge, and they don't even care about that person. If we can infuse the fun into the task that we need to have done, and I know I'm sounding like Mary Poppins right now, but they're going to want to do it. And then when they do it, they are going to get better at it. And they are going to want to be in your classroom. And all of those things are going to produce better results than them sullenly going through the motions in your classroom. I could be soapboxy about this, and I probably already am, but you guys, like, put away our stuffy, snobby feelings about what is academic and focus on the fact that we are going to get them the skills that they need, and they are going to have more fun doing it. And then it's all going to be better. I promise you, it's all going to be better. So let them research whatever they want, as long as it's school appropriate. One time I had to say, no, you cannot research serial killers. I'm pretty sure that the district, filter would, raise some alarms on that one. So within reason, let them pick the topic that they want to research about and then use that as a vehicle to get them the skills that they need to be successful. Amen? Okay, amen. If you would like a suggested schedule, you don't have to follow this, but this is how I would lay this information out over, 2 weeks. Each day I tell you what slides you need and what pages from the documents you need to get that lesson done. Here are some sneak peeks of what those resources look like. And then also at the very end, I have some rubrics for you, both for the ABC presentation and also for the verbal presentation. There are also some student critique sheets and feedback so that as students are listening to the presentation, they can give their classmates gems and opportunities about the presentation and also record some facts that they learned from their classmate expert on Star Wars or gymnastics or horses. So that is the ABC Research Project, which brings us finally to the last aspect of our calendar, which is the additional resources. The first one is a comprehension strategy that uses Play-Doh. So you can read some text out loud to your students. Maybe it's a first chapter Friday resource. Maybe it's a chapter in your science textbook about the water cycle. But you will read the text out loud to your students and ask them with the Play-Doh that you give them to make an image of what they are thinking about while they are listening. So in the video, I give you an example. I'm reading the first chapter of Front Desk, and they're at a museum and they're eating the best hamburger she's ever had in her whole life. And so I made a little hamburger. After you're done reading, you turn and you talk and you tell the person next to you why you made the thing you made. To an outsider, this might just look like we're playing with Play-Doh, but to someone who understands reading comprehension, what this process is doing is we are doing metacognition. We are thinking about our thinking. We're thinking about what we're reading. We are making a physical thing of that. And then we are talking about it. We are explaining why our brain came up with that image and how it connects to the text, how it connects to us in our real life. Instead of writing it down with a pencil, we are using our hands, we are using our mouths, we are using our brains. It's doing the same thing, but just in a slightly different way, making it more accessible or more approachable to a wider variety of students. I've done this with all sorts of students, even with my college level kids, and they love it. Only caveat, just, don't piss off your custodian, right? Like, be very mindful of Play-Doh use. Tell your students, like, if we screw this up, we're not going to get to do it again. So please, like, be good about this. A nonfiction example. So let's say you're reading about the water cycle in science. You have 4 textbook pages that are pretty thick to read, pretty heavy content, very, very heady content about the water cycle. Read a page, ask students to make an image representative of what they learned, and then talk about it. And then smush it all up. And then go to the next page. And okay, now we're on this part of the water cycle. Make an image that represents this part of the water cycle. Okay, now explain it to a classmate. Again, we're processing and comprehending this information in a very physical, tangible way. And if we can't come up with anything to make, that is the clue to the teacher that this student is not understanding this concept. And then that gives us the opportunity to step in and assist. It also gives a classmate an opportunity to say, okay, well, I saw it this way, and perhaps hearing it from a different person phrased in a different way, the information is going to click. It's a great strategy. I think you're really going to love it. The next additional resource is a book recommendation flowchart. I've got almost 200 First Chapter Fridays on my channel now. And I know that a library has even more books than that. And if we were to turn our students loose either to my playlist, to my channel, or to a whole library full of books, we said, go find something. Chances are that they would spend more time wandering aimlessly, talking with friends, pretending to look for books, or scrolling, not sure what to do, than actually finding something they want to read. So this flowchart is going to direct students to high quality, great books in a way that is much faster. So I'm going to go to a grid here. We have 6 different flowcharts. A mystery edition, survival books, romance books, sports books, and then books about places that are far away, foreign countries. How it works is students are asked 4 questions that will lead them through a trail and recommend 1 book per question. So, do you want to read a book with a mystery that revolves around murder? No? Okay, read this one. This is a mystery book that doesn't have to do with murder. Yes? Okay. Do you want to read a story set in current day time period? Yes, great. Coop Knows the Scoop is a murder in a current day time period. Or no, great. Northern Light is a murder mystery that takes place in the past. Okay. Once you have the book you'd like from those 3, you can go down and read the blurb about that book. Once you've read all 3, then you can choose, oh, this is the one that I would like to read. So you go through these four questions, come up with 4 book recommendations, come down to this next page, read the blurbs, and of those, decide which is the one that you want to try. If you click on any of the book covers or also the QR codes, it will take you directly to the First Chapter Friday of that book, and you can give it a try. So like I said, there are 6 different ones of those, and hopefully it will get students to find books that they are interested in a way that is much more efficient. Okay, a spooky playbook list. So I know that our First Chapter Friday books were all pretty scary, but I have a few more on my channel. So if you want even more spooky books, you can click this link and go to that playlist. There are 10. One thing that I would call out is that I personally feel that A Northern Light and Shiver, and perhaps Twilight, I would save those for 7th grade and up. Maybe even The Enemy, 7th grade and up. And I would say that our teacher is not a vampire. And between monsters and marvels, if you are a fifth grade teacher, those are probably on the lower maturity end, and would lean into those. And if you are like seventh grade, eighth grade, and up, you could maybe skip monsters and marvels. And our teacher is not a vampire. Those might be too young for your students. So the very last thing that I have for you, I shared at the very beginning of this video that I was in a mood on Friday. I was overwhelmed. I was done, except I wasn't done. I still had way more work to do, and I got myself out of that funk by blasting some feel-good tunes in my car. And so, in case you are in that mindset, feeling overwhelmed and in that mode as well, I wanted to pass along to you my 4 favorite mood-changing music selections, with the caveat that these are not songs we play in our classroom. These are not school appropriate. You play these in your car with your windows up all by yourself. That is who they are for. They are for you. And I hope that you enjoy them and that there are fewer days that we feel like we need them. But you know what? This is life and it's crazy and it's busy. And I just hope that this calendar can help make your crazy busy life a little bit easier. As always, if you have any questions, email me. This will be posted on the website. I will see you in the Facebook group. That's another great place to post questions or requests. And that's it. I hope you have a fantastic October. And that I will see you for our lunch bunch meeting this upcoming Friday, September 27th, when we will be talking to Gordon Corman, Megan E. Freeman, and Nick Bertozzi. All right, friends, I will see you again next time. Happy reading.